All right, welcome back to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison, in studio with my brother. My brother from another, Rhodes Scholar, is here. Brother Rhodes is in the studio. He's gonna sing his way in.
I always, the music selection that they have here for this program is wonderful. Yeah. From the Jay-Z song to this particular song that brings us back into the segue to let us in. There's a spiritual awakening that happens with the music.
Well, some things should just remain dormant, like you're singing. I'm just like.
Like I said, I'll keep that. Let's mute the microphone.
It's good, man. I'm glad to see you're full of energy. That you're. It must be something about that chair. That's what it is. That's what it is, Pastor Hobbs. He's in Dr. Bradley's chair. Dr. Bradley, folks, if you're watching or listening, Dr. Bradley is a little under the weather today, so he's out here. Yes. And Rhodes is over there. Now I know what it is. It's something about that chair. I'm not sitting there. I might start singing. My hair might start growing. So I am okay. Yeah. All right, something about sitting in that chair.
It's a nice chair, and you get to see yourself on the monitor.
I can't see. Oh, okay. See,
you know what I'm saying? Like
Pastor Hobbs used to have this.
Used to have the monitor.
I used to have one here, but I don't know if it got repossessed but
you tend to make sure you look right.
Right. You're right. Yeah, you get distracted. So how's the Facebook page coming?
It's a work in progress. Because as a matter of fact, I was supposed to bring the laptop on. No, I was supposed to bring the laptop here so that we can start doing live streaming with it. Yes. So it's going to be part of the Facebook page and everything. Oh. But of course,
You actually once you get the Facebook page, it's one that we can actually share the live broadcast with you.
Oh, okay.
So you don't actually have to do it from that. We've done that before.
Yeah. Okay.
But you guys the credentials, whatever that you could have to get to
yeah. And then we can just
send it to that page.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. We can respond. While we're live, people are sending in comments and things.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
okay. We can definitely do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's let's talk after this.
We'll talk. But when is our launch?
Technically, the page is officially has started, but it just hasn't been, fully activated yet.
You sound like a politician.
Yes. No, it's a work in progress, and we will definitely talk.
Okay, all right, Trump. Yeah. All right, we have it all settled in 24 hours, right?
Only I can solve these.
You alone can fix this.
With the help of Dr. Bradley and Pastor Hobbs.
You better get out of that chair, man. It's doing something to you. You listen to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. Yeah, it's Brother Rhodes, man. If I didn't love you, man, I wouldn't.
I know. But at least I'm willing to take responsibility for my inaction.
Okay.
All right. Some people are gonna blame other past administrators. It's Obama. It's Biden. No, I said it was me, and it's a work in progress.
It was the previous broadcast that came before us. Is the reason why.
That's right.
Who was here yesterday?
Yes,
that's their fault.
It's their fault that the Facebook page is not up.
Right. There we go.
Now it sounds more like a politician.
It sounds believable, huh? It's unbelievable.
Are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the MAMLEO page I did start, by just using the logo and stuff. But I needed to.
What is your Facebook page?
Rhodes. It's Rhodes Pierre, Rhodes.Pierre or Rhodes Pierre. And then, but the whole idea was that I did launch it through there, but I wanted to get a specific email address for that particular Facebook page. Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, all right.
Because I need to have is there an email address that's already assigned to MAMLEO?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're using it much at all. Matter of fact, reminded that MAMLEO members, today is MAMLEO's annual general membership meeting at 12 noon at MAMLEO headquarters at 61 Columbia Road. It's the first Saturday of the month already. We're into August.
Yes, we are.
August, man.
Yeah, so once I get, because I want to make sure I get that official email instead of making up a new one. So
okay, all right. So next Tuesday is my birthday, so that'll be my present. It'll be dropped Drop. That's your.
We'll be dropping the Facebook page live on next Tuesday. You know what? Larry's we're gonna make it the birthday of the Facebook page for MAMLEO.
Right.
You know,
there we go. Right. Well, that's our launch party.
It will be nice.
Exactly. So Rose, I know you are a pay attention. Unlike a lot of people, we were talking about this in the previous hour about the injustice in this country, right? And so we have Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted, and even when he was convicted, he was people don't know this. He was allowed to leave the prison for 13 hours a day to take care of his business. Right, 13 hours a day to take care of his business. Exactly, you're talking about a perk, right? So, and this is someone who was convicted of raping underage girls. Think about that. You give him basically the key to the prison system. Let yourself back in when you come back in. 13 hours, right? And the woman that was with him, Giselle Maxwell, who was really, for lack of better words, his pimp, right? Bringing these young girls to him, we're out there recruiting them, and even to hear Donald Trump speaking of one of them who had committed suicide, and I apologize for not calling her name, and basically on the face, she was his property, that he stole her from his property. She was working in his spa down in Mar-a-Lago. The young girl at the age of 16, which it's not against the law because she was just, she wasn't doing massage or anything. She was just doing an intake, so it's like a kid having a summer job or something. So there's nothing nefarious about it. But everything signals, in my opinion, that Donald Trump, and he even said, Epstein likes these girls even on the younger side. So you and I are friends, and I make a comment like that. I know more about you, and we've been around each other long enough where when somebody's up to no good, right? And now, when all this blows up because Donald Trump's sycophants, who were with him, right? He told them that once he's in there, and he ran on that there was something in the Epstein files, and he was going to expose all these people, right? Probably knew he was probably in there too. Now that we're there, they don't want to release it, and then they said anywhere in there where his name is mentioned has been redacted. So you now become the deep state that you claim you wanted to get, and everything was going to be transparent. And you're seeing a lot of these people turn because they can't believe that Donald Trump lied to them again, right? So now they're upset about this. But then, so Donald Trump, this is where he said why you can understand why this person went bankrupt so many times, because he has no new ideas. He's going to send the Deputy Attorney General, who was his attorney, which has never happened, where the Deputy Attorney General goes and interviews people in prison. They're more the managerial, making sure that everything is going right. Sends him down to Florida. He spends 2 days with her and her attorney in a conversation where there's no career personnel in the room, no FBI agents in the room. It's just Donald Trump. So is this down there on Donald Trump's behalf to make sure we can get a deal where she doesn't tell the truth about Donald Trump? Because even if she doesn't, the suspicion is there that there's something nefarious going on here, right? So after those 2 days of this, whatever, and saying that she completely cooperate, yesterday they moved her from a maximum security prison to a minimum security prison in Texas. It's more like a country club. So even though she's still, it's like people who are considered to be nonviolent, who don't have a lot of time. This is almost a reward. So what is she being rewarded for when these families are still suffering? And one person I know of that has committed suicide. And then we talk about the justice in this country, and that how we, everyone else should be treated.
She's being rewarded for loyalty, I think. That's the only thing I can see, because that's the only thing Donald Trump respects is loyalty. Blind loyalty. So that's the only thing I can say that she's being rewarded for. Other than that, like as far as like justice, again, it's called a court of law. It's not a court of justice. So if we really wanted justice, we would have had it a long time ago.
If we wanted justice, they wouldn't have elected Donald Trump, right?
No. Again, the whole idea of justice in this country, it comes down to whoever has the most money. As they say, the golden rule in America: he who has the gold makes the rules.
Right.
So
Donald Trump likes gold, right?
Yeah, and he's making the rules so he can keep his gold.
But what does that say to people out there, who have had encounters with the justice system, right? Where even like here in Massachusetts, right? If you are a person who cannot afford counsel, right? There are no attorneys available for you.
They're on strike right now.
That's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm saying.
It's
right?
crazy.
And you see, and they had to release some people and dismiss the charges on some people
because they can't get actual due process and they can't be represented in court.
But even if they were to go through the system and to be convicted, and if it's a serious crime, they wouldn't be afforded to be in a minimum security prison for such a heinous crime.
No, not at all. They would be, again, how they say there are two kinds of justice in this country. Mm-hmm. Justice for us and justice for, I guess, the well-read, well-bred, well-fed, and, the right complexion, as they say. Paul Mooney used to say, the right complexion with the connection.
Exactly.
So that's the justice that we get in this country. The idea that, again, like anytime we can bring up the same kind of grievances that you said, these are heinous crimes, and they're crimes that are even less heinous, but yet we'll get the maximum punishment from the law.
Right.
And then these people, again, instead of getting the maximum, what about the police officer that was convicted of killing
George Floyd?
No, Briley, the woman.
Oh,
what is it? Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
He suggested that's only spend 1 day. Like the justice said, it was 11 years, and he was like, "Oh no, just 1 day." And he should be pardoned. He should serve only 1 day, and that's it.
Right.
So again, that's the justice system in this country.
Exactly, the injustice. And that's what I'm saying. Is that what I don't think that people really understand, and that people didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the justice system.
Yeah.
I think this just erodes any confidence that even people like myself who former law enforcement. I'm not sure how I could operate under these conditions in implementing the law, knowing that if I were to arrest someone for a similar charge, but if they were connected, I definitely couldn't be a federal agent where you're based on Donald Trump saying if he likes you or if you're in favor with him, because when he was asked the question about pardoning her, he says, "Well, I have the power to do that."
Yes,
right?
that's what he said.
The answer has been emphatically, no, I would not. Are you kidding me? The heinous crimes that she committed against these young women, not on my watch would I. But that just tells you where his head thinking is at. If there's any transaction,
if it benefits him, he does not care. It's like all bets are off the table. What? I can get something out of this.
Right.
Let's do it.
And I think this is, like I said, sometimes, even though these things are in the Constitution where the president has absolute pardon powers, I think because people thought that people, for the most part, would do the right thing. It wouldn't be a pay to play, even though we know that's not always the case. But this has probably opened it up. I mean, where people are rethinking, wow, I don't think the founding fathers thought they were going to have someone in there, and I'm sure they did. They tried to put as many safeguards.
Well, they did.
They
put the electoral college, and they literally thought was like, okay, like those people should be smart enough not to elect, this particular person that we have in the White House right now. However, the I guess the ignorance or the idea that the country was run again, but successfully by a black man was like too much for the core DNA of this country to be able to take. And so, like, I literally feel like, we got together as a society and we were like, okay, Black America, give us give us your best. And we're like, here's Obama.
Right.
And they're like, okay, white America, give us your best. And they're like, oh, that was your brother? Here's odd.
Right. Here's what
here's what we're going to give you guys.
Right.
You know, we're going to replace it with.
From intelligence, from one extreme
to
the bottom of the barrel.
Harvard graduate, lawyer, like
family man. Right. You know, has had one wife, not multiples. Is, you know, not always sitting there, you know, like
advocating for the people. He was
predator.
actual people. He was community organizer.
Right.
That's how he started. You know, hey, let's work for the grassroots.
Understands what it's like to not have, right?
Yes.
Where this person has never had to worry about anything much because from birth, you know.
He was given a silver spoon,
right.
and then unfortunately,
and that's why his offspring feel the same way. That somehow they've earned it. They didn't earn it.
They got lucky.
Yeah, they stole it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing now. They're running around the country, grifting as much as they can. I mean, when you have, these dinners at the White House for bitcoins, and you're trying. I mean, come on. You know, I mean, it's.
And the fact that people are paying for it, like again, like you do realize that he has no loyalty to you. Like he'll take your money, and if it crashes, he's like, "That's your dumb law." He's really gonna be like, "You lost your money." Sorry.
I mean, and even like when he was in favor with Elon Musk, and he was basically selling Teslas on the White House lawn for him when he was his company was tanking because the rebellion against them.
Yeah.
You know, but that should tell people as well. Elon Musk spent almost $250 million to get Donald Trump elected.
Yeah.
And once Donald Trump had gotten
what he wanted,
right? And Elon,
there it is. Elon is now enemy number one.
Elon who?
Yeah.
Right? Elon who? Right? He, it's always the other person who is, stupid, or he's like a child. With the insults, the name calling. Like,
it's like, wait a second. The guy has a car company that's kind of a SpaceX company.
Right.
Yeah. He's got those things where he's the idiot. Yeah.
Right. And
because he sold PayPal. Like he has like all these companies that are on verge of technologies, AI and everything.
Right. He bought out. Was it Twitter?
Yeah,
right.
Well, he made it X now.
Right.
Like because he's being regulated on the platform. He bought the platform, so he can now no longer regulate. And then, so again, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So, it's unfortunate that he did get into power a second time.
Right.
Like the first time, I thought the warning was there the first time. Like
all the lights were flashing.
Yeah.
But I mean, even after the conviction. And even after being found civilly responsible for molesting the woman in that case, people still said, "I don't care. We're not going to elect a woman, and we're not going to elect particularly a black woman." Right?
Yeah.
Even with Hillary, we're not electing a woman. We're not there yet. We'd rather have the bottom of the barrel than someone with the intel. And all the things that Kamala Harris told people were going to happen are happening, right? And it's not an "I told you so," but people knew. Their racism and they're ignorant of facts. This whole
willfulness,
tribal
willfulness, ignorance of facts.
Yeah.
The fact that he could have been easily fact checked, and the media. I really feel like I really do blame the media a lot. It's like you guys dropped the ball so much, and now the fact that they're paying like ABC, CBS, all these other,
and these
like
colleges,
seriously,
right?
Yeah. I'm like, no, you're supposed to like stand by the Constitution and say no. We have freedom of speech in this country. That's how we got started.
Exactly.
That's what the promise was of this country. Okay, like that. Not like, oh no, we now have a new king.
Right.
But like, you know what? Might as well get. You know what? Forget it. Let's go back to England.
Right.
I'd rather be under the monarchy than this dictatorship. Okay.
Isn't that why people ran from that? Right, because they didn't want to be ruled by a king.
by a king. I'd rather be ruled by the English king than this.
At least that's how it started.
Yeah.
Right? This is supposed to.
Well, at least he has some decorum. You know what I'm saying? He was educated, groomed to be the king. This dude is he wants to be the king, but has like.
This is just another TV role for him.
That
he never thought he would be, because I know Donald Trump never saw himself being president. And like I said, I think if it wasn't Hillary Clinton had not been the nominee, he probably would not have been.
Yeah.
But we're living with this nightmare. 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. We're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. is there a justice in this country, or is it injustice, or is it just us who are being held to a higher standard? I mean, like I said, I think if I was still in my capacity in law enforcement, it would be very difficult for me to be putting handcuffs on people for crimes that I'm seeing,
they get away with it. Tax evasion, bankruptcy, bank fraud, stiffing people, they're not paying people, child molester, rapist. Right. Like I said, I couldn't believe it after that line came out. It was his voice saying, grab him by the...
Right.
I've never heard another human being ever say that.
Right.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I couldn't vote for him as a man. So I felt like women would be so appalled by that that some things are not. What does that say?
Apparently not some. It's not some women. Yeah,
but you have to ask the question, and I think it's deep, and that's why I say we have to dig deeper into this. What does it say? Because Donald Trump is one person, but there are millions of people that said that is the person we want representing us on the national stage and in this country. Someone with that type of baggage, someone with that thought process. So it's no wonder that Jeffrey Epstein is someone he palled around with.
And I will just say
birds of a feather.
The birds of a feather flock together, as they say. And I will just say this too: is like the fact of the matter is, it's like, again, the American educational system. Like, people are reading it like a 6th grade or 7th grade reading level.
Well, look at the Secretary of Education. She doesn't know the difference between AI and A1.
Yeah, okay, so, you're right about that. Wow. Okay.
So, where are we, right?
Yeah.
Where are we? This is the person who's supposed to be charged with, but her only task, I guess they said, was to dismantle it and shut it down.
And it's unfortunate, with the Department of Education, it was never, again, that strong of a department where it could, because it's still on the local level. A lot of things are decided on the local level. Yeah.
And I think we all agree that there are definitely a lot of room for improvement.
Yes.
Like, we just take Boston for it, right? They're shuttering more schools, closing more schools than improving schools. So no one, I would say, if they're honest, would disagree that we needed to do better. But that's not what this was designed. This was designed to just
shut it down,
but also to privatize it, so where people can send their children to religious institutions,
again,
indoctrination.
But here's the crazy thing. Like, how many religious schools are still, like, again, maybe in the rural areas they're like blossoming and popping up, but in the areas where the intelligentsia is, where there's high population, highly educated population, there are less and less people going to these religious.
But this is why with this new proposal is that this funding is that you'll be able to use that money to go there. The reason a lot of people didn't go there before was because the cost associated with it. Now, instead of you going to a public school system, you'll be able to use that similar money that you would have gotten for your child to go to public school. You can now use it
to go
what happened to the separation of church
and state? Yeah.
Right now, because that's the whole reason. Like, if I want to go to a Catholic school, why you don't get funding for it? Because there's a religious component.
There is a religious component to it, but I will say this: even if you're a Catholic school, even if you're a religious school, if your students fall under socioeconomic guidelines, you qualify for school lunches. So, like, you will get government-funded school lunches in those schools. You still have to do the PE requirements. There are a lot of things that federally they're still regulated within those schools. So it was never completely a separation of church and state, but it was like, hey, they had some funding, but not the indoctrination into the ideology of the school. Unless you wanted to go there specifically, because like I went to parochial school, they were like, hey, we're sending you to a private school, and they did understand that part of it was like religion and stuff like that.
Right. But you knew that going in, that you accepted those terms. Where now, because there's probably going to be so few choices in the public system where they're going to collapse, you will have no choice if you want to educate your child, either send them to a private school or send them to one of these.
I would just say this, like collaborate and find out about homeschooling. because there's a lot you can do, unfortunately, that you can do yourself. And the fundamental basis of all your children's education actually starts from 0 to 5.
I totally agree, but we all know, Rhodes, right? Let's be honest about, particularly in our kids that are trapped in the public school system, particularly I'll use Boston, for example, a lot of their parents
are not educated.
Not even with the basics, right? So.
Yeah.
What are they going to homeschool them about?
And then,
that's probably worse than what they get in the public schools.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is kind of like one of those things. But the basics, they don't like the phys ed, like even like home ec, like how to make sure you brush your teeth, like comb your hair, like do personal hygiene, things like that, like. It's very important. Like, it's unfortunate that sometimes like the kids go to school, they don't have those basics.
I know. Well, you raise a very good point, and that's what I'm saying is that it starts at home. You cannot, my wife and I, even summertime, my daughters every morning they have at least an hour of instruction every day. And it's not every day, even though they're because we know in order for them to be competitive in life, the education. You take the whole summer off, and then you're waiting for the school to start back up in September, and they've been out of it since June. It takes a while to gear back up, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the economy when it shut down with COVID. People, it wasn't just, okay, COVID, we've got it under control. It's like they break into the TV and say we now return to our regularly scheduled programming.
No,
it doesn't operate like that. So if you don't invest, and I tell you because I can tell just from you that you were not a product of the public school system, right?
No, I did spend 1 or 2 years,
but the vast majority
of it I did. But again, if your parents are involved and they know what they're doing, because I do know other people that went to the Boston public school system. Our friend Eddie Crispin. But went to Latin. Exactly. Okay, I'm just saying, if your parents are invested, they know, hey, you want to make sure you pass this test to get to these schools, right, or what have you, and then they understand, hey, you know what, you want to earn the way you earn in this house is you bring A's and B's.
Right. But there's a preparation for that's not taking place because you don't know what you don't know. Like, for instance, I went to school during busing, right? A lot of my siblings, some friends, and their kids. So there's a gap there, right, on the education piece where, I remember my first year at Northeastern, I was struggling because I thought they were doing me a favor by not really challenging me, but the system was not designed for challenging. It was just survival for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. So, you say, wow, and I think that's why, I enjoyed working in the schools for my time, and because I knew what I had to go through, and I'm like, wait a minute, some of those barriers are no longer there, where you can walk into any school in the city, and it's not threatening just getting there. Right? Where for me, in my family, and
I remember the signs of rocks being thrown at the school bus
Police
and everything like that. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I do remember those days.
So this is why when I take folks say, look, that is the equalizer in the education. Why education in our home is so important.
Like you said, the great equalizer, the E squared. Like enlightenment, education is the key, and unfortunately, when they start attacking, like I said, the intelligentsia, they start attacking education. That is there's something fundamentally wrong with the society that is willing to put down education.
Right. But even what you bring to the table, right, is the financial literacy, right? It's like our folks want to be ignorant to that, right? And that is so important because that really is part of setting you up for success, right?
Just think about it. It was illegal for us to know how to read as slaves, okay? Like literacy, just in general, they'd kill you if you knew how to read.
We know why, right?
Yes. So imagine the exponential empowerment of getting financial literacy, right. Okay? And it's something that they could. As a matter of fact, in Massachusetts, it is required. Okay, it's mandated, but yet it's one of the least enforced laws in the books.
Which is
financial literacy is required for you to graduate high school.
Okay,
and then exactly, most people don't know that. Like, it was mind blowing because when they did the research, I was like it's a law, but no one's going to the school system and saying, "Hey, you're not teaching financial literacy. We're taking away your funds." Oh, there's no teeth to the law.
There's no enforcement component.
Yes.
Right. Wow. I mean, so again.
So it's like you're on your own. Like if you learn it, good for you. If you don't, good for us.
So here we are with another injustice in the system.
Yes.
And we're banking on a system that, like they say, when people show you who they are, believe them. Right?
Yeah.
This is America.
Very true.
Sad as it is, this is America. We thought we had made a lot of gains. We haven't. So
America from the get-go, even before it became a country, even when it was still colonies, majority of all the laws were passed to empower the Europeans and to, again, take away power or separate power from the non-Europeans.
Yeah.
From Native Americans to African Americans to Chinese Americans, no matter what, if you were not white, they had a law that took away your power.
Yeah. But again, we bought into it, and we're trying to assimilate, and we're not doing what we need to be doing on the back end for our folks, right? Preparing them. Like I said, I know everyone can't do what my wife and I do, but you can do something, right? Or we think investing in our kids and having the fanciest and nicest clothes is a better investment than investing in a tutor, somebody who knows more about the subject matter than you do. Oh, it's crazy.
Besides the fact that again that's again the part of that slave mentality where the Sunday's best, like again, like Harriet Tubman, exactly, best quote ever. Could have freed more only if they knew they were slaves. And the idea that people were arguing like, "Oh, my clothes are better than your clothes because Master sent me on Sunday," and I was like, "Oh." When I found that out, I was like, "Oh my God, how ignorant are we?" Like literally, like we're fighting about other people's names, material clothes that we put on our bodies that make enrich them.
Hello.
And we're fighting about, "Oh, my clothes are better than your clothes." They still making money off it.
Before we grab this call, when I would buy a car, I would tell them, make them, unless you're gonna pay me, take the name off if it's on the plate. That comes off. I don't have to advertise. It's bad enough I get the manufacturer, but I don't have to
advertise saying you
pay
the dealership.
But you pay the Globe or Channel 5 for advertising. If you want, and they don't drive around with it on their van, right? So you got to pay for that time. So if you want me to drive around with the name of your car dealership, you're going to pay me. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Hey, good morning. This is Jamal. How y'all doing?
Good morning,
Good morning, Jamal. How you doing?
All right. So 2 things I want to hit on real quick. One is, I normally don't care too much when quote unquote corporations fold, but in this case, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Oh my goodness, right? Right. We all grew up with Sesame Street, right?
You did?
Reading Rainbow, right?
You did?
Yeah.
All that stuff is gone. I mean, Julia Childs, Mr. Rogers, what's old boy who does all the documentaries?
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Him too, but Ken Burns.
Ken Burns.
Ken Burns with all the all that stuff was funded. And one of the things, it's not just the big national stuff like we all remember, and I didn't even realize this, they fund over 1,500 different satellite type of little radio stations and whatnot. So for a lot of areas,
the red states,
the only news you get.
Red states, my brother. Rural areas.
These rural communities don't understand what is happening.
Well, that's because, again, I don't know what it is about the ignorance factor in here where they don't find out where the information...
And it's going to be like when they turn it on, it's going to be like they're Cirrus and they realize they're not getting the signal. Wondering, did I not? Yeah, you didn't pay the bill.
Yeah.
You didn't pay the bill.
Thank you. Be like, thank you for Donald Trump. That's your Donald Trump.
Because, like you saw, like Jamal, like Josh Hawley, the senator from Missouri, he's saying he voted for it, but now that he voted for it, he wants to get rid of it. That's all the point. But this is what I said, Jamal. I think folks thought this pain was only going to be inflicted. I mean,
on other people,
and also, it really is like I said. It's right out of the Hitler book. is, anything that dissents from what you want to believe, anything that's independent of your thinking, and PBS, is that like you can, like, I watch the news on at night, right, on PBS, right. I get more content because they don't have all those commercials that they got to factor in there. I get the more of the subject from them than if I'm watching the news,
the commercial
the national
news,
news for 30 minutes, and they're trying to squeeze
everything in, and then the commercial,
seconds.
yeah.
Right.
So, and they're doing it for the ratings. They're not there to inform you. But, and then, no, I completely agree with what you're saying in regards to, like, again, the PBS and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting providing you more in-depth news.
There you go.
Exactly.
But Jamal, I think that's probably with this station, because people, they want it, but they don't want to support it, right? And that, it probably won't be too long when you're not hearing us on Saturday. Some people might think that's a great idea that we're no longer here, but you don't get a chance, like I say, you don't miss the water till your well runs dry. And when you're not supporting what you want, like, we'll pay for things that we think we need, but not pay for what is really needed.
Well, and the problem is, as you know, too, technology has just, now, you have a 13-year-old kid broadcasting from their bedroom to, a worldwide audience.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? So the landscape is changing, where I don't know that this, model of radio or for instance, newspapers or, big television networks, all that stuff is, it's the dinosaurs, and the media is in the air.
Right.
Because
everything now is streaming, right? Where it used to be, growing up, you had, CBS,
broadcasting.
NBC,
now
ABC,
you said it's streaming
then,
on demand.
The ones that weren't as popular was like 38, 56. Those were kind of, you needed an antenna, right, to get those stations, right? But those are the main ones. And now there's more to choose, but there's less, in my opinion, of anything I want to watch.
Yeah.
Well, right now it's what they call oversaturated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now, quantity over quality.
Yes.
And too, that's kind of a business thing, too, because, look, if you have a restaurant and you only have 5 things on your menu, them 5 things better be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have 1,500 things on your menu, you could be a little bit more scattered, because, the chances are of people coming in and having complaints about the same thing exponentially go down.
Right. That's true.
But if you're Larry's Burgers and your burgers stink, you're going to sink.
Mm-hmm.
But the more products, it allows you to have a potentially lower quality, because people are less likely to notice.
Right, but Jamal, we were talking earlier, Roseanne, we're talking about, like, even with this whole thing with the education piece, right? Even without the PBS, our kids aren't really learning in the schools. We're spending a lot of money, but we're not getting much as a result, right? Where there's learning really taking place. So I think people should have a choice, right? Because I think, in certain communities, people are locked into the only choice they have is a bad choice, right? Because the money goes where the child is, but the child can only go to the public schools if it's publicly funded, where if you can afford to put even if you live in a city, you can afford to put your child in a private school, or if you're fortunate enough to get them able to get into one of the exam schools, because those should be the norm, not the exception, then, and if your parents aren't invested in education, that child doesn't stand a chance of learning much. So that's the thing, because for instance, they could close all schools in Boston, and if I had a child now, I could still be able to educate my child. The problem is like kind of what I said before. We have everything at our fingertips. YouTube, this, that, the other, but it's all there. So there are enough classic films and teaching programs and all this type of thing. Right. Like, for instance, if they take it off, Reading Rainbow is certainly still on YouTube. Right. Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So now the thing is, that even makes it worse, because back in my day, my grandmother, somebody, they had to take me, go get a library card, then, depending on how far the library was, or the Copley was the one that had all the films and whatnot. So sometimes my grandmother would have to drive me down to Copley so I could rent the VCR or the audio or the album from whatever I wanted to listen to do a book report and all. Now it's at our fingertips. Right. So we have more access to it, but the ultimate choice is people don't choose that.
Right.
They watching the latest video, you know, do the shabooby wop, and you know, all these type of little trending videos or whatnot. They're not using these devices in their hand to show that, even if, like, as a parent, you're like, wow, you know what was really instrumental to me is when I saw that film, even if it's a kid's film. Oh, you know, this film here. And they're not even showing their kids that.
You're absolutely correct. We have more access to the information today than we've ever had before. Ease with these devices, but yet, what are people watching?
Right, but
funny dances.
But a couple of points, right, to Jamal's point. You know, when you're talking about you can search this on YouTube, that's true. But there will be no new content, right? So everything you'll be seeing is older. Like for me, I remember it was a milestone. I was very proud when I first got my first library card. I felt like, wow, and I was in the library all the time because I'm like, wow, I could take, you know, there was something about that that made you feel empowered, right? And
no, it's true. Like I don't think about it. The fact that we did have access to information now.
Right.
Yeah, no,
you felt like
the neighborhood library. You could just go there and go borrow a book if you wanted to.
Go do my homework. It was a safe environment. You know, you knew you had the rules and people followed them.
Sometimes it was a safe environment. Yeah. There was weird dudes in there with the beards.
Right. But you know, I guess, you know, because we were talking about Jamal about the injustice, you know, this whole thing with you know, Maxwell, you know, Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime, being moved from a maximum security. I want to get your take on that. A maximum security facility to basically, you know, as they call them, Club Fed, in Texas, right, for such a heinous crime, in that people aren't seeing, and even all those insurrectionists from January 6th, those people being part of it. I was saying, if I was in law enforcement today, I think it would be very hard for me, unless anything short of murder, where I would be like, why am I locking up this person?
Yeah,
when I know these people here, you know, giving pardons and stuff.
And it's, you know, it's funny that some of the people from the insurrection that have been pardoned are now turning on him as well.
Yeah.
The dude with the water buffalo hat called him an idiot.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. These are people who endorsed him.
Yes.
But Jamal, that's what I'm saying. They knew they were voting for an idiot. Yes. But I guess a lot of what's happening, they thought it was only going to happen to people that look like us, and now it's happening to them. Like I don't know if you heard, I was playing the town hall with the congressman from Iowa, right, Slime.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people there, like, they knew all of this stuff. They knew these people were going to be in lockstep with Donald Trump and do whatever he wants. You know, it's like the Senate just voted, the Republicans all did, to allow him to take that grift of that airplane, right? And at the taxpayers funded to spend all this money on this plane for him to take and park. He wants that for his own personal use, and that's what it's going to be used for. Yeah. They're not naive to that. Even with all of this, his popularity declining, and people are turning, they're still like the Stepford Wives.
Well, so the thing is, like, for that, okay, there's a figure in the black community, right? His name is Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh, yes. Yeah, your favorite. That's one of your guys. That's your guy.
Yeah. He's a super clown and a fraud and all this, right? Now, recently, he has been exposed more and more about his financial misdeeds, as well as his, let's say, womanizing ways. Mm-hmm. His daughter is on the internet right now, you know, crashing out. He's not going to look for her. It's just a total contradiction and hypocrisy has been revealed, you know, for the world in front of everybody's naked eyes. And yet, he still has supporters.
Yeah.
So there are people there who are just still like, y'all can't tell me nothing. This is, you know, whatever. It's the UFOs. It's CIA. It's, you know what I mean?
Right. So Jamal,
this is the conspiracy.
Right. So do you think one of two things? I know, it's like some of these people operate in a silo, or do you think another part of it is that people have a hard time admitting that they were wrong. Because I know, like in my neighborhood,
Oh, for sure.
see people, some who used to have the Trump, they were very proud and early on, right? They had the Trump signs, and I see some still do, but some of them have taken it down. It's like they've acknowledged the embarrassment, but some are going to stick it out because they don't want anybody to say, "I told you."
So. Exactly.
And those are two different personality traits.
Okay.
One personality trait can recognize, oh, wow, I might have actually made a boo-boo, right? Others, they dig their, what do they call it, 10 toes down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like,
they dig their feet in the mud even more. And you know the old saying, too, oh, is this the hill you choose to die on?
Right.
Because some people will literally entrench themselves. And they at this point, they've given themselves, they've availed themselves to whatever consequences come, because being right in their mind is more important than survival or whatever. So it's a complicated ego type of thing, and it's not intelligent, because intelligence says, look, if you're driving on the street and you notice there was no sign or nothing, but you notice, like, wow, this looks like this is about to be a dead end. How long does it take for you to turn around? After realizing this is the dead end street, do you need to go all the way to the end of the street?
Some people like to go all the way. Okay, some people like to go all the way.
There's those people, right, who know they're going in the wrong direction, will keep driving and keep driving, right, and until they almost run out of gas, so they're like, I probably should stop and ask for directions, right?
Hey, because if you go far enough, a left will turn into a right.
That's true. So Jamal, also, but I think also part of it we were discussing is that people, the reality, like, we saw the jobs numbers come out yesterday. Inflation, unemployment ticked up a little bit. But
and he fired that person, right? He fired that person.
It's their fault, right, for telling the truth, right? But also, I think the lies are catching up. It's like we said, the dog that caught the car, right? They and I think they knew it wasn't true, because here's a person whose history is built on bankruptcies, mismanagement, not someone who the only way he's able to do things is by scheming and scamming, right? That this is the person that's going to fix your problems. He couldn't even fix his own. He couldn't even manage his own money. Now he's going to bank. And I don't know why people don't say it enough. He's going to bankrupt this country just like he did most, if not all, of his businesses, right? But I think also they're seeing that there is no turnaround. He said Ukraine and Russia, he'd have that done in 24 hours. That he would bring prices down, right? And if you go in the store,
prices
buy anything,
they just keep going.
Everything is more expensive. So. And then that's why they even try to strategically try to stall some of these policies from going in place until after the midterms. But people aren't stupid, because they're already seeing the clinics, like you said, with PBS. A lot of those rural countries, counties you talk about in these states, that's the only way they get news is through that, right? And those places are all going to shut down before the midterms. The prices in grocery stores are going up before the midterms. Those taxes that he called tariffs are already going up. As of today, Procter & Gamble said we're increasing the prices for all of our things because we're not going to eat this cost.
And not for nothing too, Procter & Gamble, to relate it to another case, they're the ones who make baby oil.
That's not Johnson and Johnson. Did they buy out Johnson and Johnson?
Yeah, no. Procter & Gamble is a larger company than Johnson & Johnson. Yeah,
okay.
That's one of their joints.
Right. Well, that's what we were saying. Is a lot of people don't know the connection, right? Because they think, well, I'll just go buy someplace else, and not realizing that they also might own that. They own
a lot of brands. Yes.
So Jamal.
Yeah, they call that corporate diversity. I remember when we were getting consciousness and everything, and back in the 80s, it was apartheid and everything, and everybody was boycotting Coca-Cola, right?
Right.
But they didn't realize Coca-Cola also made Sprite, Fanta Orange, Fanta Grape Soda, and all that.
Right. I'll just switch. That's what. But again, Jamal, this goes to the lack of people researching and in the reactionary position to things instead of doing it from an intelligent perspective, right? This is why we're talking about, having financial literacy, right? People are now scrambling, but they're still not curtailing some of their needs in taking care of their wants and not real understanding where we are in this country. Because you've talked about this ever since I've known you about a lot of these inequalities and injustices, and you really opened my eyes from a law enforcement perspective that I need to be open to not just what the police academy teaches me and what they say, but what reality and what I'm seeing
what's happening in the real
and
world.
how, if I work in a certain section of the city, those people are treated differently than if West Roxbury gets treated different than Roxbury, and the only thing that's different is the West.
Yes,
slash.
and then because again, like I don't know if you're the one that kind of schooled me to this, but they were saying like, all right, in West Roxbury they don't get ticketed at night for parking.
Yes.
And in Roxbury they're like, oh no, you go out there and you make sure you ticket those people.
I remember, they said, hey, get your tags, right? It was kind of like a way of saying, the quotas, right? And I went down the street. Everyone was parked in the wrong direction, right? On the sidewalk. I was like, oh, this is easy. But that was the norm. I didn't even finish before I was called into the station and say, where's your tag book? That's going in the trash.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So although you had written these official tickets and documentation, they were like,
right.
no.
And I had done that many times because I had been transferred from Roxbury, where they would say, hey, you know what, parking, you see, and not once did I get called in to take, where's your tag book, because folks called and complained about being tagged. That's why I'm like, wow. Well, I was just, no, we don't
just
do
doing
that.
my job.
No, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We don't do that here.
Selective enforcement, they call that.
Right. We don't do that here.
Hey, and let me give y'all this one, because this was going into the whole thing of the cost and what we like and what we pay attention to. As y'all know, I've been spending a lot more time on Martha's Vineyard and, doing business.
I didn't know that.
What's that guy?
I know.
What's the guy? Robin Lee Champagne.
Yeah, exactly right. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Yeah.
So go ahead.
So when I'm down there, and it's funny because the vineyard is what it's known for, all the rich, hoity-toity.
Yes.
But also, too, it's a strong working class place.
Yes.
If you're a fisherman down there, you're not living that life.
No.
You're a carpenter, a plumber. You're living a real regular life.
Yeah.
Okay? And, summers it's cute and all that type of stuff, but the winters are brutal. It's no fun in the winter.
Right.
Resources are limited. You talk about prices are high. If you think they're high here, wait till you go down there.
Right, everything.
You know what I mean?
Brought in. So then, Jamal, to that point, but also, and that's the people like they see that are invisible, because like you said, the people that work in the stores down there, not that those boutiques, but like the regular Stop and Shop and all that.
Right.
Those people have to try to live on an island where people that they're serving have no idea of the struggle that there's such a disconnect. Was that fair?
Exactly. And it's a high immigrant population also put in with a working class population of folks that just live there year round and have so for a while.
Or that's their summer home, right? Where
that's their forever home.
Okay.
And there's generations of them. Like some of the grown folks that I'm running into now are people that I knew when I was a kid.
Right.
So now, Polo just did, or Ralph Lauren just did this ad thing where they call it's paying tribute to the black history on the vineyard, a la Oak Bluffs and the Inkwell.
Okay.
Some people are eating this up.
Yeah. Well,
Trump, see it for what it is. Cultural appropriation.
Trump will be shutting them down and shaking them down soon as well. Jamal, we got about 30 seconds. It's all yours, brother.
That's it. I just wanted to put, folks should check out the Polo latest Oak Bluffs Martha's Vineyard ad. I think it's cultural appropriation.
Can you send that if you have it? Can you
send the link?
Yeah, the link if you have it.
Oh yeah. It's an easy YouTube.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, and thank you for always weighing in. It's always learn something, and it's about sharing information, not just feeling like you have all the answers, because we don't.
No, we definitely don't.
But I mean, we may be heading in the direction of PBS. If folks don't support it,
but all I will say is actually PBS here in Boston will survive.
Right.
But it's the people in the rural areas those people. Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's different between the PBS and the NPR.
Yes.
NPR is stronger than the PBS. They're saying they're shutting down. they're shutting down all over the country because that's all the funding. But we've got to go. Thanks, Jamal. Appreciate it.
Yes.
See you tomorrow.
Peace.
Yep. All right. And Brother Rhodes, you're in that chair. You got something else to do.
Oh yeah. Stay blessed, brother. Stay blessed.
So if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.
I wrote 300 songs in 1 year, Boogie will tell you I'm on it. I got unreleased songs for days, they don't want it. Eat any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge if your music reflects who you are, and you's a coward. I can see through the lies you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'. You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard, hustle so if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.
I always